Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vikas. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're going to be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 6, text number 40. Purusha Shukta confirmed. This is the last verse of the chapter. I'd like to request a devotee to please use my phone, scroll it down, and give the phone back when we're done. Okay. Pradhanyataha yan rishe amananti Leela avataran purushasya bhumnaha apiyatam karna kashaya shoshan anukramishye te iman su peshan pradhanyato yan risha Pradhanyato yan risha ama no. Pradhanyato yan. What's the meter? No, I think that's not the meter. Yan risha ama. Okay. Pradhanyato yan risha amananti. Leela avataran purushasya bhumnaha. Apiyatam karna kashaya shoshan. Anukramishye iman supeshan. Pradhanyato yan risha amananti. Pradhanyato yan risha amananti. Leela avataran purushasya bhumnaha. Apiyatam karna kashaya shoshan. Anukramishye iman supeshan. Pradhanyato yan risha amananti. Leela avataran apurushasya bhumnaha. Apiyatam karna kashaya shoshan. Apiyatam karna kashaya shoshan. Anukramishye iman supeshan. Anukramishye iman supeshan. Please repeat. Yato yan risha amananti. Leela avataran purushasya bhumnaha. Apiyatam karna kashaya shoshan. Anukramishye iman supeshan. Pradhanyato yan risha amananti. Avataran purushasya bhumnaha. Ukramishye sa iman supeshan. Anyato yan risha amananti. Leela avataran purushasya bhumnaha. Apiyatam karna kashaya shoshan. Anukramishye iman supeshan. Anyone else? Pradhanyato yan risha amananti. Leelavataran Purushasya Bhumnaha Apiyatam Karna Kashaya Shoshan Anukramisheta Iman Supeshan. Mataji's, please. Radhanyatoyan Rishamananti Leelavataran Purushasya Bhumnaha Apiyatam Karna Lakashaya Shoshan Anukramisheta Iman Supeshan Pradhanyatoyan Rishamananti Leelavataran Purushasya Bhumnaha Apiyatam Karna Kashaya Shoshan Anukramisheta Iman Supeshan. Great. Anyone else? Pradhanyataham, chiefly. Yan, all those. Rishe, O Narada. Amananti, worship. Leela, pastimes. Avataran, incarnations. Purushasya, of the personality of Godhead. Bhumnaham, the Supreme. Apiyatam, in order to be relished by you. Karna, ears. Kashaya, foul matter. Shoshan, that which evaporates. Anukramishye, shall state one after another. Te, they. Iman, as they are in my heart. Supeshan, all pleasing to hear. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O Narada, now I shall state one after another the transcendental incarnations of the Lord known as Leela avatars. Hearing of their activities counteracts all foul matter accumulated in the ear. We still have to clean our ears. These pastimes are pleasing to hear and are to be relished. Therefore, they are in my heart. Purport. As it was said in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.8, one cannot be fully satisfied by hearing unless and until one is given a chance to hear of the transcendental activities of the Lord. So Brahmaji is also trying in this verse to stress the importance of narrating the transcendental pastimes of the Lord as He comes and manifests Himself here on the surface of the material planets. Every living entity has a tendency to hear pleasing messages, and as such, almost every one of us is inclined to hear news and talks broadcast by radio stations. But the difficulty is that no one is satisfied at heart by hearing all those messages. The cause of such dissatisfaction is the incompatibility of the message with the innermost stratum of the living soul. Prabhupada is such a beautiful wordsmith. This transcendental literature is especially prepared by Srila Vyasadeva to give the utmost satisfaction to the people in general by the narration of activities of the Lord. As instructed by Sri Narada Muni to Srila Vyasadeva, such activities of the Lord are principally of two varieties. One concerns the mundane manifestation of material creative force, and the other deals with His pastimes in the form of different incarnations in the terms of time and place. There are innumerable incarnations of the Lord like the waves of the river flowing constantly in and out. Less intelligent persons take more interest in the creative forces of the Lord in the material world, and being disconnected from the relationship with the Lord, they put forward many theories of the creation in the name of scientific research. The devotees of the Lord, however, know well how the creative forces work concurrently by the action and reaction of material energy of the Lord. Therefore, they take more interest in the transcendental activities of the Lord as He incarnates Himself on the surface of the material world. Srimad Bhagavatam is a history of such activities of the Lord, and people who take interest in hearing Srimad Bhagavatam clear their hearts of accumulated filth. There are 1,001 trash literatures on the market, but one who has taken interest in the Srimad Bhagavatam loses all interest in such filthy literatures. Sri Brahmaji is thus attempting to narrate the principal incarnations of the Lord so that they may be drunk by Narada as transcendental nectar. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the second canto, 6th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Purusha Shukti Confirmed. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shriyutafratakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagan Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamsha He Krishna Karana Sandhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sandhabhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishamebhyo Namo Namaha Vagisha Yasya Vadane Lakshmi Yasya Javakshisi Yasyaste Hridaye Samvittam Nrsimham Aham Bhaje Yasya Devi Para Bhaktir Yata Devi Tata Guru Tasya Dekatita Hyarta Prakashante Mahatmanaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikas Swaminiti Namine Nija Guru Harivanya Krishna Chitto Vichinto Parihita Pitrige Hadyanda Sangsara Kupaha Prabhu Bhajana Sukabdo Majjayan Swamsa Vishwo Bhuvijayati Vikaso Bhakti Purvo Yatindraha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminati Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyati Deshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham Kati Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. The translation of this verse is that Mukham, that by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the spiritual master, and the spiritual master, even a lame man can speak eloquent verses. So a dumb man can speak eloquent poetry, and a lame man can cross over mountains. So we're reading. This is the last verse of in the 6th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Purusha Shukta confirmed. And in this chapter, in this verse, the way now Brahma is very expertly saying, "O Narada, now I shall state one after another the transcendental activities, the transcendental incarnations of the Lord, known as Leela avatars. Hearing of their transcendental activities counteracts all foul matter accumulated in the ear. These pastimes are pleasing to hear and to be relished. Therefore, they are in my heart." So over here, Lord Brahma is revealing his heart. Lord Brahma is revealing his heart to all the people in the future, so they can relish what is in Lord Brahma's heart. And this is what the Guru Parampara does. Parampara jano bhalo mate. That the entire desire of the Guru Parampara is to please the entire desire of the spiritual master is to please the previous spiritual masters and those coming in that line. That's why Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati says, "Ihara paramahamsa gorangira nija bamsa tandira charane mama gati ami seva udasina name titi dandinina Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati." Then Ihara paramahamsa, all the paramahamsas in our Guru Parampara, all the devotees in our Guru Parampara, paramahamsas. Ihara paramahamsa gorangira nija bamsa, that they are actually part of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's family. Gaurangira Nija Bamsa. Tandira Sharane Mama Gati. I have no other destination and no other refuge and no other shelter but the lotus feet of the previous acharyas. Tandira Sharane Mama Gati. Ami Seva Udasina. That as far as I'm speaking, this is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, mind you. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati is saying, Ami Seva Udasina. As far as I'm concerned, I have no inclination towards devotional service. Nametiti Dandidina. Such as a person saying, Sri Bhakti Siddhanta, the Tridandi Goswami, Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is saying this. The Parampara Jano Bhalo Mate. We must know the hearts of the Guru Parampara. That's why all the Acharyas come to reveal their hearts to us. That's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes a beautiful poem. He says, Hridaya Borite Keba, Dai Tera Dashira Sheba, Gopi Kata Pranadhana Kirtan. Gopi Pranadhana Kata Kirtan. Hridaya Bolile Keba, Dai Tera Dashira Sheba, Gopi Pranadhana Kata Kirtan. That someone told me in my heart, Hridaya Bolile Keba, Dai Tera Dashira Sheba. Who is Daita? Who is Daita? Daita Das. Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Dayita Das. Hriday Bolile Keba, Dayitere Dasere Sheva. Seva. That the service of Shri Bhakti, someone in my heart told me that the service of Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati is to reveal to the entire world the wealth of the heart of the gopis. Gopi prana dhana katha kirtan. Gopi prana dhana. Gopis prana, life, dhana, wealth, kirtan. Topics of or glorification of katha kirtan. Gopi prana dhana katha kirtan. So this is what our acharyas do. They reveal their hearts to us. Why? Because in their hearts there is no such horrible things. In our hearts we have so many horrible things. How many horrible things do we have? Better we don't say. Better we don't say. Sometimes, in case we're having some issues with the stomach, then that time we take I remember in New York, a long, not a long time ago, but, some time ago, maybe 6-7 years ago, there was one brahmachari, and he's a very, very sweet devotee. He still serves the deities Radha Muralidhar. He's very fixed, very sweet devotee. Gaurasharan Prabhu. He had some issue with his stomach, so he had to take some laxatives, and he was, all the stuff that was in his stomach was coming out. And then he had taken a bath and he had come out and he told me, Prabhu, there's so much stuff which is stored up in the body which is coming out. And at least that we can take a laxative for it to come out. But then what to speak about our minds? What to speak about our subtle bodies? How many horrible impressions are there, life after life after life after life in this world? How many horrible impressions are there on our minds? Can we even imagine? Even in this life, how many horrible samskaras have we accumulated? Can we even count them? Can we think about all the sinful activities that we have done? If we were to think, we'd just probably die of depression. It's so much horrible things we have done, and all the impressions of touching intoxication, of touching meat, of associating with the opposite sex, of doing all these horrible things, of watching mundane stuff all the time. TV runs 24 hours a day. All this stuff is accumulated on our minds. All this stuff is accumulated in our hearts. All this stuff. So many samskaras in this life. How old are most of us? How old were we when we started practicing Krishna consciousness? Still, 18, 19, 20 years, 25 years of all this junk. Imagine, 25 years of constant junk. All this stuff is etched in our hearts. But the Bhagavatam is so kind. The Srimad Bhagavatam is so kind. That here Prabhupada is himself saying, as stated in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, one cannot be fully satisfied by hearing unless one is given a chance to hear of the transcendental activities of the Lord. It's a beautiful verse in the Bhagavatam. Srinada Uvacha Bhavatanu Dita Prayam Yasho Bhagavato Malam Yenai Vaso Tutushyeta Manyeta Dharshanam Khilam. Oh, Sri Narada said, this is Narada who Brahma is preaching to right now. He is preaching to his disciple, the Guru Parampara, Vyasadeva. You have not actually broadcast the sublime and spotless glories of the Lord, the personality of Godhead. That philosophy which does not satisfy the transcendental senses of the Lord is considered worthless. Everything that we've been taught, everything that we see, everything is completely worthless. It's foul matter. It stinks, actually. It stinks. It's horrible. I remember, some of my friends, they used to love reading books. By the mercy of Krishna, I hated reading books because thank God I didn't have that inclination of reading all this garbage. But they would have libraries and libraries of all these books and novels and fiction and this, that, and the other thing. And oh, wow, so amazing. But then, and then after some time, we would get into the car, and this is in New York or something like this. Started, and we would all get intoxicated and to speak about what we were reading, what they were reading, And then we would go, and then they would say, "Oh yeah, I'm reading this trash book, and I'm reading that trash book, and I'm doing this, I'm doing that." And then but after reading the Bhagavatam, you realize if let's just say you get into your car with your family, and someone's opens a mundane book, you say, "Oh Prabhu, that stinks. Can you please shut it?" Because it's horrible. It's trash. It's foul matter. It's disgusting. That's what the Bhagavatam says. It's disgusting. You turn on the radio. Please stand up. You know who you are. Please stand up. This Bhagavatam, if you see it, it helps us understand what the current condition of this world is. You turn on the radio. What do you listen to? Sex songs. Everything is sex songs. That's all. This way, that way, that way, this way. It's simply sex songs. What is the use? What is the use of all these things? So many people, we go to the book fair, and then so many people are buying all this garbage, all this horrible imagination. There's a really amazing verse in the Bhagavatam which helps us understand. It's very similar to this verse, actually. And somehow Krishna gave remembrance of this verse. Because I was listening to a lecture by my Guru Maharaj called Second-Hand Stool and Staying in ISKCON. That's a really good word. It's a good lecture. I'd strongly recommend devotees to hear it. Check this out. Nunam daivena vihata yachyuta kata sudham hitva shinvantyasad ghata purisham iva vidbhujaha. Vidbhujaha, everyone knows what that is. Such persons are condemned by the supreme order of the Lord because they are averse to the nectar of the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are compared to stool-eating hogs. They give up hearing the transcendental activities of the Lord and indulge in hearing abominable activities of materialistic persons. And if the verse was not heavy enough, Prabhupada says, everyone is addicted to hearing the activities of another person, whether a politician or a rich man or an imaginary character whose activities are created in a novel. Wow, what was the widest selling book some time ago? Harry Potter. Does he exist? No. There's there was like part 1, part 2, part 3. Like, how many stupid parts were there for this stupid book? Like, how many parts? Like 10? Mitravan, you must know, right? 8? Oh, good. 7. Oh, there you go. Trace with the facts. 7. Traces are stats guy. Like 7 books, and people would line up. Oh my God, Harry Potter's being released. They all would line up and they were like, they buy these books. Even in Hyderabad, I don't know if you remember, but for me, I know because my sister was like super into reading. There was this, I know, complete garbage, I know. But they would like line up and stand in hours as if they're like going to get darshan of Balaji. If you go to Tirupati, you see that Balaji is there, Lord, he's an incarnation of Krishna, Vishnu. He's there, and people are lining up. Oh, they're there for hours and hours and hours and hours, meditating upon Balaji, hoping to get like one glimpse of his lotus feet. One glimpse. 3 seconds, we got darshan of Balaji. Wow, Jai, our life is a success. And that's true. That's true. But then they would line up. Oh, big line for what? For Harry Potter. Harry, what the heck is this? And my sister was like, you should really read this book. You should really, really read this book. I said, even if you kill me, I'm not going to read these books. They're so stupid. It's bogus. It's some nonsense fiction. Oh, wow. So amazing. It's bogus, They're like, the first part, so many people come. Second part, more people. Third part, even before she cooks up the story in her mind, they would pay her millions of dollars to write this book. Why? So she can get the best drugs or something. I don't know. But you can see this. It's so crazy. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. But because there's a dearth of people wanting to learn transcendental knowledge, people go and take all this garbage. Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. Oh, wow, so amazing. They make movies out of it. And I saw some of these movies that's coming. This is freaking stupid. What the heck is this? Guy flying on a broomstick and holding a ball. What the hell is this nonsense? What were you on? But this is the garbage that's out there. Complete garbage, complete nonsense. And now if you go to Comic-Con and it's like Harry Potter on drugs or something, just all these freaking adults, 70-year-old guy, I've been coming to this since this thing began. You met those acharyas of the Comic-Con, and all the people come, Vandon movie, Savadana Mate to that guy. I've been coming, now I've gotten my kids into it, now I my grandson, he's dressed as Flash, you see him, and that's so dumb. What the heck are you doing, bro? You're an illusion, your son is an illusion, your grandson is an illusion. This is what you're into? It's so stupid. But we're it's so stupid. It's so bogus. There's no reality to it whatsoever. At all. But people are like, oh, it's so amazing. All imagination. And if it's not imagination, let's read the biography of a hog, dog, and vermin stool. And the Bhagavatam says, Svavizvara hoshikarai samshita purushav pashuhu. That these people are hogs, dogs, camels, and asses. And the biggest hogs, dogs, camels, and asses, right, have books written about them or write books about themselves. Like, let me tell you how intricately I was in Maya and how you can be in Maya like me. And they write all these books about, oh, this I did this thing, I did that thing, I did that thing, I did this thing, you know. But ultimately, what is the use? Becoming animals, that's all. Animal life, animal life. Prabhupada writes, there are so many nonsensical literature, stories, and books of speculative philosophy. Materialistic persons are very interested in reading such literature. But when they are presented with genuine books of knowledge like Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu Purana, and other scriptures of the world, such as the Bible and the Quran, they are not interested. I'm good. You want the Bhagavatam? I'm good. But, how much is the Bhagavatam? $300? Oh, no, I can't do that. I don't have that money. But then a few minutes later, you go and see them spending $700 on a fake lightsaber. On a lightsaber. On a thing which has a tube light, which you press it and it lights up and makes a sound like, whew. It makes a sound. Maybe I'm not doing the right sound, but like, turn up, and you get like a blue light and a red light. And like, wow, $700? $700 for you to imagine that you're like inside, what is it? Okay, Star Wars, yeah. Because I don't know what the difference. Anyway, Star Wars or Star Trek, I don't know what the difference is. Thank God I know. God bless me, I know. But still, like, oh, so $700 on a lightsaber, bro, you're wasting your money. So much money, $700, and these people look broke. Like honestly, they look broke. Like the guy, I'm like, bro, how much did you spend on that costume? $700. I'm like, bro, what do you do? Like, yeah, like I'm a busboy, or like I'm a, they do like I work in Walmart or something. They save up all their money to spend it on this, and they spend so much time and energy into like dressing like this. But it's all the perverted reflection of being devotees of Krishna. Everyone wants to worship the superhero. Who is the ultimate superhero? Krishna. Krishna is the ultimate superhero. That's the person that needs to be glorified. But because people are in illusion, they do not know. And that's why they chase after this illusion. They chase after this thing which does not even exist. We are shocked to see this. But you want the Bhagavatam? I'm good. These persons are condemned by the supreme order as much as a hog is condemned. The hog is interested in eating stool. If the hog is offered some nice preparation made of condensed milk or ghee, he will not like it. He would prefer obnoxious, bad-smelling stool, which he finds very relishable. Materialistic persons are considered condemned because they're interested in hellish activities and not in transcendental activities. Hellish activities. The message of the Lord's activities is nectar, and besides that message, any information in which we may be interested is actually hellish. Similar verse, Prabhupada is saying. Similar verse, right? Prabhupada, Brahma is also saying this foul matter accumulated in our ears. So much garbage accumulated in our ears. Oh, it's hellish. It's simply hellish. There is no happiness in all this nonsense, mundane literature. There is no happiness. We cannot experience the bliss of Krishna. We cannot experience the bliss of life as long as we're engaging ourselves in all this mundane literature, all these mundane talks. Sometimes, we have to look at certain news or certain interviews in order for us to be informed of something. But even that's an austerity. It's a big austerity. Recently, Shamsundar Prabhu had sent me like one thing that he really wanted me to watch, because he was talking about this whole other thing, and I was like, he likes discussing some things in this regard in order, he writes about all these things. So anyway, we were discussing, Shamsundar Prabhu wanted me to see this because, he wants me to distribute books to these people in like the, higher echelons of things. And he was telling me, you see, these are the people, you should, talk to them. You should somehow actually you and them will get along very well. Figure out how to distribute books to them. And this is what these people think, So he sent me this, and it was an interview. And it was like a long interview. I could only handle maybe 15 minutes of it. I would listen to it 15 minutes later, okay, and then listen to the rest of it. There may be good points and all these things, but ultimately it's just mundane people talking. But, we have to learn to discriminate, and we have to feel. Every time we listen to a karmi song or something, we should think, oh, that's an austerity. I'm preaching to myself here. I'm put to test so many times, especially, I remember distributing books in a music festival. And while I was distributing books in this music festival, like there was one tent. It was in the center of all the spots I had to distribute books to. And they were playing like my favorite album, which I knew how to play the bass guitar on, and I knew how to play the guitar on. And it was such a test for me, I was just like really tortured. I was like, oh my God, I should just focus on distributing books. I distributed books, and I got away, as far away from it as I could so I don't listen to it. But it's a test, I'm not going to say, oh, I wasn't attracted at all. But at least because the Bhagavatam was in my hand, I could keep my eyes on the prize. Yes, no matter how fallen we are, especially how I was thinking, although I'm very fallen and I'm still attracted to these mundane sound vibrations, I know there's a higher thing, and I forced myself to just continue distributing books. Distribute books. The people bought the books. The people playing the music bought the books. I told them, wow, bro, this guy who's playing the bass in this song, he loves these books too. And you should get him. The singer of this, he says this in this song, and this is where he got it from. And this, that, and they got the books, and it was really amazing. But, we should be very careful. We should be very careful of indulging in mundane sound vibration. The message of the Lord's activities is nectar. And besides that message, any information in which we may be interested is actually hellish. That's why the Bhagavatam says this, Vayam tu na viprityama uttama shloka vikrame yashanvatam rasagnanam svadu svadu pade pade. It's a very amazing verse. I hope I could remember the verse number. No. Do you know this verse much, yeah? This is it. Vayam tu na, let me just remember the verse number. Okay. Vayam tu na viprityama uttama shloka vikrame yashanvatam rasagnanam svadu svadu pade pade. We never tire of hearing the transcendental pastimes of the personality of Godhead, who is glorified by hymns and prayers. Those who have developed a taste for transcendental relationships with Him relish hearing of His pastimes at every moment. This we should do. We should be absorbed in hearing the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's why this literature is needed, because it's a perfect medicine for our conditioning. We are conditioned. We're so conditioned. But what is the solution? The solution is the Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why the Bhagavatam says, Nivrita tarshar upagiyamanat bhavasadat chotra manobhiramat ka uttama shloka gunanuvadat puman virajeta vinapashugnat. It's such an amazing verse. Glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the parampara system. How is it performed? In the parampara system. That is, it is conveyed from spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is relished by those no longer interested in false temporary glorification of this cosmic manifestation. Descriptions of the Lord are the right medicine for the conditioned soul undergoing repeated birth and death. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord except a butcher or one who is the killer of his own self? We all memorize the Isha Upanishad. What's the word for killer of the own self? That's right, Atmahan, killer of the own self. So, unless we are Atmahan, killer of our own self, why would we not be attracted to the nectar of the Srimad Bhagavatam? Why would we not be attracted? This is the ultimate bliss. This is the ultimate bliss. There is no higher nectar than the Srimad Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam is the topmost nectar. There is nothing better than the Srimad Bhagavatam. Nigamakal galitam phalam shukamukad amrita drava samyutam pipata bhagavatam rasamalaya muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavakaha. It's an amazing verse, third verse of the first canto, first chapter. O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Shukadev Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. This is the nectar. There's no higher thing than this. It's really amazing. And then the Bhagavatam, of course, we see this we just read this verse. Yeah, this is really amazing, okay? So, you go to these concerts, and you go to these other bookstores, and you go to this place, and this place, and all the people are crowded there wow, this is almost like a place of pilgrimage for them, I remember being at Karmi, and one of my favorite bands was actually visiting India. And I thought, wow, oh oh my God, these guys are coming to India. That's crazy. And like, I remember like, and then like, me and my friends all got together and like, we were like, yeah, bro, we gotta go. We have to go. And then we all like went like as on a pilgrimage to go see these people perform in Bangalore, and we were like, wow, this is the nectar. This is amazing. And we were all like into it, and like we were like prepping for it days before it started. Like we listened to the entire discography, all of us, and then when they were all hyped up and like all this, and like when they came on, it was like Jai Haribo, like that was like the mundane bhav, It was so bogus. But then that was like a place, that was like a pilgrimage. That was like literally like a pilgrimage. But then the Bhagavatam also calls this a pilgrimage. But what kind of pilgrimage is it? Pilgrimage for crows. What is that? Vayasam tirtham. Nayad vachashitra padam harer yasho jagat pavitram pragrinita karhichit. Tat vayasam tirtham ushnati manasa nayatra hangsa niramatyushik shayaha. Those words or songs, we should not describe the glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by saintly persons to be unto a place of pilgrimage for the crows. Since the all-perfect persons are inhabitants of the transcendental abode, they do not derive any pleasure there. So all these places you go, yesterday we went to the Braves game, right? So what is the Braves game? No. What is it really? That's right. Savayasa Tirtha. Savayasa Tirtha. You're going to all these other events. What are they? Vayasa Tirtha. You're going to go listen to your favorite artist play. What is that? Vayasa Tirtha. Going to watch the movies. What is that? Well, I didn't hear y'all. That's right. Vayasa Tirtha is simply a pilgrimage for crows. And all our friends who are into all these, what are they? Stool-eating hogs or crows. All our friends coming together. Wow, bro, let's like eat this too. No. We're not into this. No. Our friends come, eat this, drink this, smoke that, do this, do that. What do we do? We say, oh, you are hogs. We don't want anything to do with you. I'm sorry, my dear hog. I can't associate with you anymore. You can tell them that. I remember, when I first came, I literally just fell off. I didn't talk to any of my friends for 6 months. They were like, hi, bye. That's it. Period. That's it. I didn't care. I didn't want that association. I didn't want anything to do with any of them. Simply hogs. Simply hogs. And I always I feel so bad. I was thinking, as a karmi, I had so many good friends. Like good friends. But none of them took up the Krishna consciousness, and I feel like, oh man, I wish at least if one of them could take the Krishna consciousness. So I was telling Matsya and Nali, like, man, you guys are so fortunate. You all were friends before coming to Krishna consciousness, and so that friendship became transcendentalized by bringing. By bringing Nally into Krishna consciousness, you made that friendship transcendental. It's so amazing. I wish, at least one of my friends or anyone I knew in the past could take up the Krishna consciousness, man. I would be so happy, But anyway, what to do? I was a crow and I associated with a lot of crows, and they were not swan-like people. So, we see this over here. I'm not going to read the whole purport, but yeah, there you go. Mostly the market literatures which attract men of the crows categories are literatures containing refuse remnants of sensuous topics. Refuse remnants, like going to a garbage can and in a restaurant and trying to eat what's in the garbage can. Of refuse remnants of sensuous topics. They are generally known as mundane talks in relationship with the gross and subtle mind. They are full of the subject matter, described in decorative language, full of mundane similes and metaphorical arrangements. Yet, with all that, they do not glorify the Lord. Such poetry and prose on any subject matter is considered a decoration of a dead body. Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya. Oh, what's that verse? You could send it to me. You can find it so I can put it up. That any subject matter is considered decoration of a dead body. Spiritually advanced men who are compared to the swans do not take pleasure in such dead literatures, which are sources of pleasure for men who are spiritually dead. Pran achetran rase hetu prachar. These literatures in the modes of passion and ignorance are distributed under different labels, but they can hardly help the spiritual urge of the human being. Thus, the swan-like spiritually advanced men have nothing to do with them. And Prabhupada goes on. I'll probably get back to this purport later. Just text me the verse number, or you can tell me the verse number. I'll pull it up soon. Madhya 1975. And there's also this beautiful verse in the Bhagavatam. Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo yasmin pratishlokam abhadatyavatyapi namanyanantasyani yashonkitani yet shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadavaha. This is what is written on the Krishna Life logo in Sanskrit. Shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadavaha. We see this. On the other hand, that literature, which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, pastimes, etc., of this unlimited Supreme Lord as a different creation, full of transcendental words directed toward bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. This is the Bhagavatam. This is what it is. This is the highest bliss. There's nothing better than this. And this verse is a prediction of Srila Prabhupada's coming to this world. This verse, my Guru Maharaj shares his deep realization that this verse is a prediction of Prabhupada coming to this planet. Because this verse is predicting a revolution that is going to take place by the distribution of transcendental literature of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is describing Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada is predicted in the Srimad Bhagavatam. We just have to have the eyes and faith to see. Even if you don't have the faith, even if you're neutral, if you were to neutrally and just logically observe, okay, who in the history has created such a revolution? About the Bhagavatam. Who did it? Who did it? Isaac Newton? Einstein? Who did it? Anyone knows who did this? Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada did this. Prabhupada made this revolution. Prabhupada made a revolution by writing these books. By writing the Srimad Bhagavatam. He was translating the Bhagavatam until he manifested the pastime of leaving from this world on his deathbed like Bhishma. Although Bhishma was on a bed of arrows, he was speaking the most nectarian Vishnu Sahasranama. Speaking nectarian topics that are described in the Bhagavatam. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada was still doing this. And Krishna Keshav Prabhu was telling me yesterday that if you see the videos of Srila Prabhupada in the end, Pradyumna Prabhu was there and he's like reciting the different commentaries of the previous acharyas which are written in Sanskrit. He's reciting these translations. And then Prabhupada, while he's in the state that he is, he's hearing the translation, he's hearing the Sanskrit, translating everything, and then speaking what he wants to speak in his Bhakti Vedanta purpose. If you read the 12th chapter of the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the 13th chapter of the 12th canto of the Bhagavatam, 11th or 10th or 9th or even the 8th, if you read all of this, you would never guess that the person who was speaking this was manifesting the pastimes of leaving this world. Reflect upon this. How many devotees here have read, at least until the 13th chapter of the Bhagavatam? Few. Wow, really? Trace? 10th canto, 13th chapter. Sorry about that. 10th canto, 13th chapter. Okay. Isn't it amazing the stuff that Prabhupada writes? Isn't it? I could not, when I read, I was like, there's no way. I was like checking the timelines. Prabhupada was manifesting he was performing the pastimes of none of his body parts actually working. The Kaviraj, the Ayurvedic doctor, said that the amount of pain that an ordinary person would be undergoing, they would just leave their body from the pain. But your Guru he's transcendental to everything. In this condition, he's giving this nectar. How is this possible? How is this possible? Apaurishaya. This is divine. His divine grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There's nothing higher than this. Prabhupada is so amazing. He's giving this knowledge in that state. How can we understand? How can we even, we feel a little sick and we're like, I'm not going to chant my rounds. So we feel like, I'm not coming to Mangalarati. I'm not reading. We feel a little sick. We think like this. We think like that. We don't have the ability. But Prabhupada, just see. He taught us how to live and he taught us how to leave also. That's Srila Prabhupada, the Acharya. So this verse is predicting Srila Prabhupada. This verse is predicting Srila Prabhupada. It's so nectar. It's so amazing. There's other verse also. This anartho pasamam sakshat bhakti yoga madokshaje lokasya janato vidvan shakre sadhata samhitam. think it's 175. No, 6. Okay. The material miseries of the living entity, which are superfluous to him, can be directly mitigated by the linking process of devotional service. But the mass of people do not know this, and therefore the learned Vyasadeva compiled this Vedic literature, which is in relation to the supreme truth. See, mass of people don't know what's good for them. The mass of people don't know. But my Guru Maharaj was saying, but because Vyasadeva was Vidwan. What does Vidwan mean? No, not really. Vidwan, what does Vidwan mean? Scholar. Scholar, right? Vidwan Gauranga, scholar, right? So, because Vyasadeva is learned, Vidwan can, not just for, Vyasadeva, of course, he's all-knowing, because he's, but I wanted to see, but Guru Maharaj, the supremely learned, you see, yeah, but that doesn't necessarily, Vyasadeva is Srikala Gyan, of course, But my Guru Maharaj is saying, because Vyasadeva is Vidwan, because he is learned, he knows what's actually necessary for the conditioned souls. He knows. He knows. Vyasadeva knows. All of us, we're stuck in this material world. Yayo samohito jiva atmanam trigunatmakam paropi manutenartham tatkritam chapi patyate. Due to this external energy, the living entity, although transcendental to the three modes of material nature, thinks of himself as a material product and thus undergoes the reactions of material miseries. See, we are thinking we're the products of these three modes. But Vyasadeva, he is Vidwan. He knows. He knows. And because he knows what is needed for us to transcend this conditioning. He knows. He knows. So, there's another verse. I'm looking for it. Yeah, this is such an amazing verse. Yasyam vai suryamanayam Krishne parama purushe bhaktir utpadyate pumsaha shoko moha bhaya paha. Was this the one you were sending me? No, right? That's a different one. Simply by giving oral reception to this Vedic literature, the feeling of loving devotional service to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sprouts up at once to extinguish the fire of lamentation, illusion, and fearfulness. We're tormented by this lamenting, constantly lamenting. We're in illusion. We are fearful of surrendering to Krishna. Fearful. Sometimes you see people, they're fearful to eat a full plate of prasadam. Why are you scared? What happened? There's a plate of prasadam. What's the problem? Eat, take prasadam. People are afraid. Oh, I can't. What happened? But they can like put all kind of abominable substances in their body. But prasadam, I can't take that. Prasad means just little. That's the Indian bhav, just little. But homies they're smoking, drinking. You give them prasad. Oh, bro, I don't know what's in it. Like. Bro, you're smoking. Like, what the heck? You're smoking a cigarette, It's so bogus, I don't know what's in it, but, it's nonsense. People are afraid of take prasad. But, there's so much fear in this world. People are afraid. Fear of death is all over. Fear of death. Fear of so many things. People are completely captured by fear. But hearing the Bhagavatam frees us from all these things. Frees us from these bogus ideas. This Prabhupada is writing in this purport about how people have all their the scientists have their stupid ideas about how the world was created. There's a big bang, and they make all this other nonsense ideas, But it's bogus, completely bogus. They have their theory of creation. It's been disproved and over again. They have their theory of evolution. They have the theory of Big Bang. They have this, that, and the other thing. It's all been disproven by so many people. Completely bogus. But people are completely surrounded by fear. Surrounded by fear. They're in fear. So much fear. But people need to get free of fear. How will people get free of fear? Well, I don't know the verse number, definitely for this one. Bhayam dvitiyat abhiniveshatasyat dvitiyat. What is it, Mr. One? 11:2:30? Oh, wow, okay. We should actually learn this verse. You all know why, right? 11:2:37. We see this. Bhayam dvitiyad abhiniveshatashyat ishat apetasya viparyayo smritihi tanmayayato buddha abhajettam bhakteka yesham guruteva tatma. You want to be free of fear? Learn this verse. Fear arises when a living entity misidentifies himself as a material body because of absorption in the external illusory energy of the Lord. When the living entity thus turns away from the Supreme Lord, he also forgets his own constitutional position as a servant of the Lord. This bewildering, fearful condition is affected by the potency of illusion called Maya. Therefore, an intelligent person should engage unflinchingly in the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master, whom he should accept as his worshipable deity and his very life and soul. It's all there in this verse. Everything. It's all there in this verse. Want to be freed of fear? This is what we have to do. This is the nectar. It's so amazing. We simply have to do this. We have to understand the Srimad Bhagavatam. We were just reading. It's such an amazing verse we just read. I just want to read it again because it's so amazing. Simply by giving oral reception to this Vedic literature, the feeling of loving devotional service to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sprouts up at once to extinguish the fire of lamentation, illusion, and fearfulness. So amazing. Simply by hearing, of course. There's a whole series of verses in the first canto, starting from... No, actually, Yad Anudhyas, this is a rhetorical question, right? Sutta Goswami asked this rhetorical question. Yad Anudhyasina Yukta Karma Granthas Nibandhanam Chindanti Kovida Sasya Kona Kuryat Kataratim. For who is that foolish guy, a person in this world who will not give all reception to the hearing of the Srimad Bhagavatam? Let's see if I get this right. The verse number. Okay, that's right. Okay. With sword in hand, the intelligent men cut through the binding knots of reactionary karma by remembering the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not pay attention to this message? And then, it starts off. Shushusho Shadadhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchihi Syan Mahatsevaya Vipra Punya Tirtha Nishevanat. Then, O twice born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice and great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. And then, Shinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridayantasya Bhadrani Vidunoti Suhit Satam. Sri Krishna, Prabhu, we don't know translation. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is a Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are themselves virtuous and properly heard and chanted. And then, Nasta Prayesho Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloki Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. This is really amazing verses. Oh my Lord, this is the nectar. By regular attendance in the classes on the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service under the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Does it end here? No, sir, it doesn't. Tada rajastamo bhava kamalobhadaya shaye chete tirana vidam sitam satve prasidati. And then what happens? Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavad tattva vijnana mukta sangha sijayate. And then what happens? Vidyate hridayagranti shidyante sarvasamshaya shriyante chasya karmani drishya evatmanishvare. This is the nectar. Just listen. Just hear the oral reception. As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of the nature's modes of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness and he becomes completely happy. You want to be happy? Absorb yourself in the Bhagavatam. There's no higher bliss than this. Absorb yourself in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nitya Koro Pran, Yaha Haiti Premananda, Bhakti Tattva Gyan. Then simply by reading, my Guru Maharaj has this lecture, such an ecstatic lecture. The secret to being happy. In this, he says, the conclusion is this. If you want to be happy, read the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yahavati Premananda Bhakti Tattva Gyan. Just by absorbing ourselves in this, we will get Bhakti Tattva Gyan. We will get Paramananda. We will get the ultimate happiness, for which we're always hankering. Thus established in the mode of unalloyed goodness, a man whose mind has been enlivened by contact with devotional service to the Lord gains positive scientific knowledge of the personality of God in the stage of liberation from all material association. Thus the knot in the heart is pierced, and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions is terminated when one sees itself as master. And Mitravan, what was the verse number for the one you read yesterday? Vidyate hridaya granthi shidyante sarva samshaya. Shriyante chasya karmani mai. You forgot. Okay, what's the verse number? I'm going to learn it right now. What's the verse number? Okay. That verse was a topmost nectar, Prabhu. I got to be honest. That was really amazing. That's the kind of stuff you can get drunk on. Thank you, Avadut. Always looking out for the Adama Janara Bandhus like me. Adama like me. So, Bhidyate, this is such an amazing. Bhidyate Hridaya Granthis, Shidyante Sarva Samshaya, Shiyante Chasya Karmani, Mai Drishti Khilatmani. Okay. Mai Drishti Khilatmani. This is amazing. Thus, the knot in the heart is pierced, all misgivings are cut to pieces, and the chain of fruit of activity is terminated when I am seen as a supreme personality of Godhead. That's the nectar. You see, it's the nectar. It's amazing. We see this over here. Okay, then therefore, what should we do? Ato vai kavayo nityam bhaktim paramaya muda vasudevi bhagavati kurvanti atma prasadanim. Certainly, therefore, since time immemorial, all transcendentalists have been rendering devotional service to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with great delight, because such devotional service is enlivening to the self. Wake up, Jeev Jago. Uttishta Jagrata Prapya Varam Nibodhame. Understand the Shura Siddhara Ishitam Duratyaya. Wake up. This life is like a razor's edge. Enough of your nonsense intoxication. Enough of your nonsense maya. Enough of your nonsense not being in the association of devotees. Enough of your nonsense accusations. Enough of your nonsense misunderstandings. Surrender to Krishna now. Enough. Spiritual life is like a razor's edge. You will get cut if you're not careful. Enough of your nonsense. Take up to Krishna consciousness seriously. Surrender to Krishna. Go back home, back to Godhead in this life. How long you want to be a hog and dog eating stew? Labdhva sudurlabham idam bahusam bhavanti manushya martadam anityam apihadira tunam yatetana patet anumrityu yavan nishrayasaya vishaya kalu sarvatasyat. This human form of life is so rarely obtained. How rare, so rarely obtained. But somehow, if by good fortune we attain this human form of life, we should do everything possible to attain self-realization. Everything possible. And not waste our life in sense gratification, which is available for the hogs and dogs that eat stool. We could die at any time. We could die at any time. Does anyone want to get inside the mother's womb again? You know how much suffering there is in that mother's womb? Get out of it. What's the problem? Even if we slip, let's get back on track. What's the problem? We've done it before. Right? We've done it. What's the problem? Simply have a mind. Simply have a mind. Offensive mentality. Simply. Nonsense accusations. Nonsense. Oh, this person is that person. Therefore I can't practice devotional service. Our conditional surrender. Enough of your nonsense conditional surrender. I will surrender only if it's like this, only if it's like that, only if it's like this, only if it's like that. Only for what nonsense? Who cares? Surrender to Krishna now. What's the problem? But no, we want to have our conditional surrender. Oh, we'll only surrender like this. Hey, stay in hell, rot. Rot in the misery of your stool-like mind. Jai, Haribo. What's the use? It is simply we should somehow or the other take shelter of the Bhagavatam. There's nothing more nectarian than the Bhagavatam. It's so amazing. The Bhagavatam is the best thing on the planet. We see this over here also. And then this is really amazing. These series of verses are so blissful. They're really amazing. Please, please pay attention. Is this it? Hold on. Okay. Now, please pay attention. Okay, I probably don't have the time to read the Sanskrit for all of them. I'll just read Sanskrit for some of them. But look, okay, you know what? It's too nectar. We should read. Adi madhya vasani shu vairagya khyana samyutam hari lila kata vrata mritanandita satsuram sarva vedanta saram yad brahmatmaikatva lakshanam vasvadvitiyam tannishtham kaivalyaika prayojanam. From the beginning to the end, the Srimad Bhagavatam is full of narrations that encourage renunciation of material life. Therefore, when people get mad, you're giving such a heavy class about sex life, or why are you doing that? That's what the Bhagavatam says. You see? Srimad Bhagavatam is full of narrations, and what does it encourage? What does it encourage? To get entangled? No. The Bhagavatam encourages renunciation of material life, as well as nectar, accounts of Lord Hari's transcendental pastimes, which gives ecstasy to the saintly devotees and demigods. This Bhagavatam is the essence of all Vedanta philosophy because its subject matter is the absolute truth, which, while non-different from the spirit soul, is the ultimate reality, one without second. The goal of this literature is exclusive devotional service under that supreme truth. I'm just going to read the English. Oh yeah, this is the Bhadra Purnima verse. And then this one. All other, so this is like, this verse is like transcendental smack. This is called talking transcendental smack. Check this out. All other Puranic scriptures shine forth in the assembly of saintly devotees only as long as the great ocean of nectar, Srimad Bhagavatam, is not heard. It's all fun and games until the Bhagavatam shows up. This we have to read. Sarva Vedanta Saram hi Shri Bhagavatam Ishyate Tad Rasamrita Triptasya Nanyatra Syat Rati Kvachit. Srimad Bhagavatam is declared to be the essence of all Vedanta philosophy. One who has felt satisfaction from its nectarian mellow will never be attracted to any other literature. Just as the Ganga is the greatest of all rivers, Lord Achyuta is the supreme among the deities, and Lord Shambhu is the greatest of Vaishnavas, so Srimad Bhagavatam is the greatest of all Puranas. O Brahmanas, in the same way the city of Kashi is unexcelled among holy places, Srimad Bhagavatam is supreme among all Puranas. Oh, this, believe it or not, most of the time when I sell the Bhagavatam says, I always sell like the first two lines of this verse. Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Paramahamsyam Ekam Amalam Gnanam Param Giyate Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naishkarmyam Avishkritam Tat Shinvan Supatan Vicharana Paro Bhaktya Vimuchen Naraha. My Guru Maharaj also quotes this verse a lot. Srimad Bhagavatam is a Spartas Purana. It is most dear to the Vaishnavas because it describes the pure and supreme knowledge of the Paramahamsas. This Srimad Bhagavatam reveals the means for becoming free from all material work together with the process of transcendental knowledge, renunciation, and devotion. Anyone who seriously tries to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, who properly hears it and chants it with devotion, becomes completely liberated. Isn't that amazing? And then I'll end this, promise I'll end this, with this. This is really amazing. These are verses number 412 to 416 from Sri Krishna Lila Stava by Sanatan Goswami. Yeah. Anyway, I'll read only the last sentence. I'll just read the translation for now. Oh, this is Sanatan Goswami. Oh, Srimad Bhagavatam. Oh, nectar churned from the ocean of all Vedic scriptures. Oh, most prominent transcendental fruit of all Vedas. Oh, you who are enriched with the jewels of all spiritual philosophical conclusions. Oh, you who grant spiritual vision to all the people of the world. Oh, life and breath. Oh, life breath of the Vaishnava devotees. Oh, Lord, you are the sun which is arisen to dispel the darkness of Kali Yuga. You are actually Krishna who has returned among us. O Srimad Bhagavatam, I offer my respectful obeisance unto you. By reading you, one attains transcendental bliss, for your syllables rain pure love of God upon the reader. Every syllable of the Bhagavatam, prati sloke, prati akshare, nana shastra koya. You are always to be served by everyone, for you are an incarnation of Krishna. And I love this. This is really amazing. Mad eka bandho mad sangin, mad guru man mahadhana. Man nistaraka mad bhagya, mad anando namostate. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O my only friend, O my companion, O my teacher, O my great wealth, O my deliverer, O my good fortune, O my bliss, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. O Srimad Bhagavatam, giver of saintliness to the unsaintly, right? This is us, right? Asadu sadhata dayin, right? We are very unsaintly, right? Very, especially myself, very unsaintly. Asadu sadhata dayin atini cho cha takara. Hana muncha kadachin mam premna hit kantayospura. O Srimad Bhagavatam, giver of saintliness to the unsaintly, O uplifter of the very fallen, please do not ever leave me. This is amazing. Don't ever leave me. Please become manifested on my heart and my throat, accompanied by pure love for Krishna. Therefore, we should always be in the Bhagavatam state of mind. Okay? We always have to be in the Bhagavatam state of mind. We always have to be in the Bhagavatam state of mind. We have to distribute this nectar to everyone we meet. Everyone we meet, we have to distribute Bhagavatam sets. This is up. We have to do it. After reading all this, come on, why should we not go and distribute Bhagavatam sets? We have to go and distribute Bhagavatam sets to anyone and everyone that moves, Indian and non-Indian alike. Okay? Distribute Bhagavatam sets to everyone. We should distribute Bhagavatam sets to everyone because this is the ultimate essence of all Vedic knowledge. So again, this is another humble reminder. We got to be in the Bhagavatam state of mind. It's not enough to rock the jacket, you got to be in it. Preaching to myself here. So in the class here, if there's any questions, comments, or protests, we could take them now. Yes. Avadhuta Chandra Prabhu.
Prabhu, I have two questions actually. About the verse today, it was Lord Brahma is speaking to Narada, and he's like referring to, all the foul matter accumulated within the ear. What is Lord Brahma referring to? Because, I mean, obviously, where we are now, there's, the radio and newspaper and stuff like that, but what is Brahma referring to during that segment of time when he's like speaking?
Well, I wish I could enter into the heart of Lord Brahma and find out exactly. But the understanding is that, topics not related to Krishna. There's also, for those, in the Vedas also speak about so much. If you read the first canto, 5th chapter on the Srimad Bhagavatam, that Narad Muni is asking that, you've given so many descriptions, all these things, but there's no direct descriptions of the transcendental pastimes of Krishna. So all the other stuff, Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, all these other things which, may not directly remind one of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but may focus on fruitive activities and impersonal liberation, all these things. That could also be considered foul matter in the ear. It's a philosophical speculation, but you bona fide. Right? Give him the mic, please.
All these Shrutis, Upanishads, whatever, if you see that chapter where Narad Muni chastises Vyasa, he's written everything. And are you satisfied? He's asking Narad Muni.
Are you satisfied?
Are you satisfied with your body and mind? What you have?
And you know what he says? He said, "Are you satisfied by simply describing your body and mind, Prabhu?"
It is like chastising the person who has written so
Vedic
much
literatures,
Vedic scriptures, Upanishads, Puranas.
Jugupsitam. He says Jugupsitam.
Yeah, Jugupsitam.
Right? Was it? How does
you're
it?
Trying to encourage people. Already people are into enjoying mentality.
Yeah, and they'll use you as an excuse.
You are made their day in such a way to encourage them. So it's actually Vedic scriptures means it's Shruti. You hear to your right ear. But actually Bhagavatam is the real one which one should hear.
There you go. Jugupsitam dharma krite na nusha sataha swabhava raktasya mahan vyatikramaha yad vakyato dharma iti tarasthito namanyate tasya nivaranam janaha. The people in general are naturally inclined to enjoy, and you have encouraged them in that way in the name of religion. This is verily condemned, and because it is quite unreasonable. Because they are guided under your instruction, they will accept such activities in the name of religion and will hardly care for prohibitions. And so the stuff that's not directly Krishna conscious, like the Bhagavatam, everything else could also be considered the foul matter.
Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said only 2 books, Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. If it is there, all other books are burnt.
And even if the Bhagavatam is now gone, the Chaitanya Charitamrita is enough. And one of his disciples said, even the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita is gone, and there's only one verse left, which is Atmindya Priti Panchatare Balikam Krishnindya Priti Chare Premanam. The desire to satisfy one's own senses is called lust, or the desire to satisfy the senses of Krishna is called love. If that one verse remains, then all the entire philosophy of the Bhagavatam can be fluffed out of it. Very amazing. Is that okay, Prabhu? What's the other question? Yes.
And my other question is, I always appreciate your classes because you always give reference to the second chapter, Divinity and Divine Service. But there's that verse that you had quoted about, I think it's Nashta Praisha, but in the translation it says, all these things are, I want to hear your opinion on this because it says it's almost completely destroyed to nil. Right. So what's that that's like left
Because
over?
if you see the Sanskrit, it says, Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Naishtiki also means on the platform Nishta. You see? So when one comes to the platform Nishta, almost everything is completely destroyed. Unflinching faith. But then when that becomes more mature, then it goes away. Yeah. Right? Uh-huh.
Prabhu, in this purport, let's see. Prabhupada says that one cannot be fully satisfied by hearing unless and until one is given a chance to hear of the transcendental activities of the Lord. But elsewhere it says that, hearing these transcendental pastimes, you're never satiated.
Yeah,
So
both are there.
yeah, how does that work?
Because ultimately the living entity is looking for unlimited bliss. If you give them access to unlimited bliss, they're going to want more of it. But the limited bliss right from the beginning is not even bliss really, So we'll never be satiated by, because we want to get more and more into it, like that. Anything else? Mataji's? Yes, Mother Anaya. Guru Vaishnava Bhagwan Tine Resmaran Hoy Vigna Vinashan Anayase Hoy Nicha Vanchita Puran. No matter what difficulties we have, we simply remember the Guru, Hari, Lord Krishna, and Vaishnavas. All our difficulties will go away. Anayase Hoy Nicha Vanchita Puran. And all our desires will be completely satisfied. So that's the thing that, all our desires will become, we'll have unlimited desires for serving Krishna. Unlimited inspiration to serve Krishna. Spiritual life is never static, it's dynamic. You understand? So you understand like that. Yes, Mother. The camera's facing her. Okay.
So in the verse 176 that you referred to,
Yes, Mother.
in the purport it says that revival of the dormant affection or love of Godhead does not depend on the mechanical system of hearing and chanting, but is solely and wholly depends on the causeless mercy of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean necessarily?
That means, that, you can say, it's like this, it's like, you could have so much mundane knowledge, like you could get a recipe book, right? We have so many recipe books, higher taste or something, and you could memorize all the recipes in that book. And that's pretty impressive, But if you don't know how to cook it, what's the use of all this memorization, So similarly, people can read, so many people read the Bhagavatam also, some mundane scholars, they read the Bhagavatam. But the problem is that if we do it mechanically, without a sense of commitment, we will not be able to access that real bliss which is there. You understand? We have to apply the text. We have to apply the hearing and chanting. Does that make sense, Mother?
But like for those who just come to Krishna consciousness who are chanting in the beginning, they have no understanding of the philosophy. So
Yeah, good question, right? So especially when people first come, they have no understanding of the philosophy. But when they are chanting, this is really amazing. They're actually chanting Namabhas. When they chant, they get like this amazing taste, for chanting. Like, wow, this is amazing. That, right, Jacob? Like, when you first start chanting, I'm sure we all remember, that when you first started chanting, like, wow, this is amazing. Like, so, why? Because we're not committing any offenses towards the holy name. But then as we get more familiar with the devotees, familiar with the prasad, then we start making offenses and that bliss goes away, And that causeless mercy also is given by the Lord, The Lord, you've come to me, amazing, so nice, you come to me. Even for someone to come to Krishna's temple, they have to be so fortunate. Krishna has to allow them to come. We send out so many texts. How many people show up? Krishna allows them to come. You see? Is that okay, Mother? Yes, thank you. Anything else? Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Taking on the world, Sri Prabhupada translated book distribution ki jai. Being in the Bhagavatam state of mind ki jai. Vansha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripasindubhyevacha